Hello, I'm back again, and we're going to counterfeit another logo. Let me switch to this. Let's see, why are we counterfeiting logos? I will say I'm doing this, or I was doing this when I did it last month, for legitimate purposes. The school districts, the logos that I'm counterfeiting are clients of my client, and I needed to use them for a print project. And it was easier to recreate them in vector form than to track them down from the school districts. And since I bill by the hour, I go with what's the shortest, quickest thing that's going to cost my client the least amount of money. And reasons one would need a vector logo. They are sharp at any size. I was using these at about 5 inches by 5 inches. And also I was putting it on a black background, so some of the logos that had black in them, I had to reverse that out to white and then compensate with the other colors. And lastly, a transparent background is what a vector would give you. This, you'll notice, this is a JPEG that I opened up from, I guess my client probably sent it to me. And as you can tell, it has a white box on it. So this is the last logo, and I will start a new document here and paste that in and turn my rulers on. I believe this is Greenville, Texas. This logo is for. There's no text today, so we will not be dealing with Times New Roman. First thing I'm going to do is drag a guide out just to give myself a center point, since there is some symmetry to this logo. Pick that up and drag that there. And that looks like about, yeah, the center of his nose, the center of his eyes, center here, that'll work. Let's see, I think the first thing I'm going to do, I'm gonna enlarge this a little bit and check my colors. I'm set to a white fill and a black stroke. The black stroke is okay, the white fill is not. I want it to be see-through for now so I can see what I'm doing. And I'm gonna get my pen tool up here and start at the top center. And with the pen tool, if you click from point to point, you'll get a straight line. And if you click and drag, you'll get a curved line. So here I'm about to put this point right on the edge of that curve and click and drag. I'm holding the shift key down so I can only drag up or to 45-degree increments, but I'm gonna drag right about like that. And then here, and then click, straight line, click and drag. I don't need a shift key there, it's not quite flat where I clicked. And then click, click, click and drag with the shift key down. And finish off that curve. Click, click and drag, no shift key down, click, click for a straight line. I'm using the space bar to get the hand tool to move the document, and then click, click and drag with shift key down, and then click on this side, and then that's a straight line, that's a straight line. And I'm going to hold the shift key down when I click this next one because that will make it a straight, perfectly horizontal line. Now I want a straight, perfectly vertical line. And then come around to the outside of that curve. And I'm going to have to come back and fix that. And then click. And center that. Click and drag with the shift key down. Going to finish off that curve. Click, straight line. Click and drag with the shift key down so I go straight up. All right. And then shift key is down when I click, so I get a straight line horizontal. Now this I don't hold the shift key down because I don't want 45 or 90 degrees. Now I do want a straight horizontal, so I'm going to hold the shift key down. And now I'm not holding the shift key down, but I'm clicking. So everything else here is going to be a straight line. So I'm just going to click, click, click till I get all the way back around. And I can come back to this later and straighten these up or make them a little more accurate if I want to. Now this, yeah, that's not a straight vertical, so I do not want to hold the shift key down. Oh, we're almost there. Click, 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 click. And you'll notice when you get right back up to the beginning point, cursor changes a bit. See, when I get close, that little circle appears. That means if I click, it will complete the shape, which is definitely what I want to do. Okay, now I'm going to grab my white arrows and come back and kind of fix some of these. Yeah, that one's not too bad. I'll bring that one out a tiny bit. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. Just shorten that curve a tiny bit. I can drag this handle, and it only affects between the 2 points surrounding the handle that I'm grabbing. Gonna flatten that out. Another thing I can do, let's see, what is my stroke here? It is 1 point. So if I change this to a 1/2 point, my black line will be thinner. I can see a little better what I'm doing. I think that'll work. Let's see, this one I'm going to scoot to the right a bit, and I am holding the shift key down because I want to keep this line straight here. And that, I do want to keep that curve like that. Okay, these should be pretty good. This one is sticking out a little bit, so you'll notice I'm dragging the handle on the adjacent point, and it's affecting this curve here, which is what I want to do because I don't want it sticking out like that. Actually, I'm going to pull this point over a bit and then shorten it back up again. Oops, don't want to do that. That is pretty close. This one again, I'm dragging the handle on the adjacent point to affect this one. Let's see, I think I'm going to drag that down a bit and then shorten that back up. It's a little bit more accurate. Let's see, I'm going to go back and do that on this one. Drag that down. Kind of fix that. Okay, what else? Yeah, that should be easy. Okay, this one right here, I'm going to drag that straight down till that curve flattens out a bit. That is pretty close. And then this one, take that back in a little bit and drag that to the edge and then back in on that. Okay, it's pretty close. If it looks this good, zoomed in this tight, it will be fine when it's shrunk down to size. So the next step I want to do, let's see, so that shape is all red. So I think I'm going to do his ears next. I'll click here, back to the Bezier pen tool, click and drag because it's a curve, click, click. Ooh, that's a little funky curve there. Let's see, I'm going to grab it here and then click. This looks like a straight line, that looks like a straight line. Got a little bit off there, so I'm going to come and tighten that up with that. Yep, that's pretty close. Okay, now, rather than trace the other ear, because I'm going to assume they're identical, scoot that a little over. Okay, that'll work. Okay, I'm going to I got to grab the black arrow, not the white one, because I want all the handles for the whole shape. I'm holding down my Option Shift key. I'm going to drag that over. And then I'm going up to Object, Transform, Reflect, and I have a vertical is selected. That's what I want. I'm going to say OK. So it's a vertical axis that I am reflecting that over, which flips it. And then I just have to hold my shift key down again, drag it into place. So that is that. And then I can do the same thing with his eyes. They have no curves in them. So I'm just going to get back to my pen tool, click and drag. No dragging, just clicking. But here I am holding the shift key down because I want it straight. Here I am not, because I don't know if that's 45 or not. Anyway, back to the black arrow, select the whole shape, get an option, shift drag over here, and then same thing we did on the ears. Object transform reflect, still vertical. And let's see, now I'm just holding the shift key down, slide that into place. And now with the dots, let's see, for his whiskers, I'm going to get the ellipse tool, which is the circle tool. And I guess I'll start on the outside. You gotta hold the shift key down to get a perfect circle. So I just need one. And then I'm holding down the option key to drag another circle because these all appear to be the same size. And it also looks like this is symmetrical. So now I'm going to go back and click on all of these circles. I'm going to option shift drag over here, and I want to flip them. Object transform reflect vertical, yes, okay, yes. And then just shift key down again. So those are perfectly across from the first set I made. Okay, what's left? The nose. Let's see, and the mouth. So back to the pen tool. These are all straight lines. I've got a couple options here. I can either just draw one half and then flip it and join the points, or I can just trace the whole thing. So I think I'm going to go ahead and trace the whole thing. Let's see, so we're at the pen tool. No curves here, so it's just a lot of clicking. This looks to be a straight vertical, so I am going to hold the shift key down for that one click. No shift key down anymore. Okay, now shift key down for vertical. And when I come back to the center, obviously I want to hit it right on that guide because that's why I made the guide. Over here, and then I'm going to hold the shift key down. No shift key down. And here I'm going to hold the shift key down, give me a perfect vertical. Okay, now I'm not holding it down. And now see again, when I get in close range to that beginning point, I get that little circle that tells me I'm going to complete the shape. Okay, I think that I drew all the shapes. We just need to go back and deal with the coloring now. So first thing I'll do is click on this and get the eyedropper tool and click anywhere in the red. There's plenty of places to click. Okay, and then click on the fill color. It gives me the CMYK information. Create new swatch. It's the same CMYK information. That's cyan, magenta, yellow, and black, by the way. I'm going to say OK, and it adds it right here, and it is selected. Okay, now I want to get away from the eyedropper tool. So obviously the things that are red, I'm going to fill in red. I'm holding the shift key down, by the way, so I can click on each of these items and add them to the grouping. So all of these things should be filled with none, stroked with black. I want them filled with red, stroked with none. So I'm going to take that black off. And next, I'm going to do what's called a compound path. So you can imagine a donut where you have a hole in the middle that you can see through. I'm going to guess his ears should be see-through. Really doesn't matter. For our purposes, I could just make them white on a red background. Or if this logo were to lay on top of something, would I want to see the background through it? Obviously, I would see the background through here because it's not a completed shape. I mean, it's not a donut. So I am going to select all of these. That would be the whole lion's mane and the two ear shapes. I have none of his face selected here, though. And go up to Object, Compound Path, Make. You can't tell the difference because the background's white still. And let's see, we're going to fill that with red. stroke with none. We'll find out if that worked. Okay, that's my JPEG logo in the background that I was using to trace, and then that's my traced version here. And if I put a box behind it, any box will do, except a red one. How about blue? Well, filling with blue, stroking with nothing. Okay, and then send the box to the back. You'll notice his ears are see-through, and you can see the blue box through it. So I think that's probably the way to go, because if these ears were white right now, that would look awkward, stand out like a sore thumb. Okay, that's what I intended to come up with. I can delete that, I can delete that. Everything's squared away here. What have I got? It's about a 5-inch logo. It's plenty big, and as we saw in the previous logos, I can zoom in. You know what? I am going to undo something I just did. Here's the difference between a raster file and a vector file. This is a JPEG on the right. See all this crap along here in the fuzzy edge? It's because it's a raster file. And then the vector file over here on the left, it's beautiful and sharp and clean. That's why we're doing this. That's the difference right there. And what are we at? 3,200%. So I can go one more, right? Nope, 48. 64, still sharp. Where's his face? He's a bit big at this point. I'm going to shrink him down. There's the ears, there's his eyes. So yeah, nice and sharp. And where's that other one? It's not nice and sharp. It's crap. Don't do that. This is why when my clients send me JPEG logos, I think, oh no, I really want a vector. And if they don't give it to me, I'll just create my own, because I don't want to work with that. Delete. Okay, we're good. How about a save as? No idea where. Okay. Red lion .ai. Save. Okay. And there you go. That's how you, let's see, switch back to this. That's how you trace a logo. I guess I'll be doing a series of these just to demonstrate partly how to use Illustrator tools. And another game that's kind of fun to do is if you're hunting for a logo, like tracing a logo is a last resort. Ideally, you just want to find it online, but it's not going to be on a website because, well, you don't find vector logos on websites. There are JPEGs and PNGs that you would see visually. There's probably one hiding on a website, but you'd really have to know where to look. Which is something I've gotten pretty good at. So we might start playing a game called Stump the Designer, where you pick a brand. It could be anything. It could be a character or a sports team or a restaurant or a company, and I go and search for the logo. There's a few places I look, websites I go to that have vector logos. If I can't find that, there's some other sneaky stuff I do. And then if I can't find it there, I resort to tracing it. That's my method of attack. Anyway, I will see you guys later. Cheers.